Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of Hiring and Inspiring. Today's guest is Hacene Baleh. Hacene's an industry connection of mine. He's a guy vastly experienced in the civil infrastructure construction space as a technical director, vastly experienced in project management and business development. So I'm looking forward to catching up to him today, picking his brains and finding out all about his sort of career journey so far, how he's got to where he has, a little bit about the industry, what the current state of the market is, and for him to reflect on, maybe his career journey and the things he's learned along the way, and share it to my audience. So, Hacene, with that introduction, hey, welcome to the show. How are you getting on?
Thank you very much for inviting me, Joe. It's been a great pleasure being connected with you over a year or so, maybe more, maybe less. But yes, I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, mate. It's a pleasure. I want to start with sort of some recent stuff. Actually, I know you've been on your travels recently.
Yes.
You mentioned you've been in Dubai
Yeah.
at the start of this year. Expanding your horizons. I think you mentioned learning, developing your skill set and
Yeah.
networking. I think. How was that trip, and what were the sort of main, I guess, takeaways you got?
Yeah. For me, when I got to Dubai, basically it's more like exploring. I started a job there as technical director for the whole GCC with an international company, global company. But actually, I moved on. We tried to explore different avenues there. But what I realized in the GCC market is GCC, especially Dubai, is like the capital of the world. People coming from all different parts of the world getting together and sharing the experience to build the iconic infrastructure in there. So when you are there, what you see basically is something that's I would say you've never seen before. The scale, the size, and the beauty is just breathtaking, unbelievable. So for me, being part of that's my goal. I wanted to learn how these kind of things were done, kind of technologies, and when you get to talk to people coming from all different countries, you learn a bit of, I guess, the experience coming from all over the world, and that's also your opportunity to share what you've learned from Australia. It's an opportunity for the Australian professionals to share what they know and how they do things, and that's a great. It was for me. It was a great pleasure to witness those kind of things.
Yeah. What were some of the main learnings that you got from other people, or even the people maybe you met from
Yeah,
Dubai, how they're doing things? You mentioned it's the sort of
yeah,
the crown and the jewel, so to speak, of that that industry. They're leading the way, so to speak. What are they doing out there that's sort of
yeah.
making them stand out?
The thing is, if you're familiar with the Australian standards, for instance, you're working in Australia, you've been in Australia for a long time. The only thing you basically most of the standards you'll be mentioning to your peers or your clients are Australian standards. Very rarely you find professionals mentioning other standards, international. But when you are over there, you hardly hear the Australian standards. You're the only one basically that's promoting the Australian standards and tell them how it's done. But what you hear is you hear the US, basically the American standards, European standards. You hear about the British, the Germans, and basically different standards from all over the world. So when I say standards, we're talking about the way that the construction industry is done in those part of the world. That's how you know the difference between how it's done in Australia and how it's done elsewhere. So you make the comparison. Sometimes we're better, sometimes they're better. So you come up with something in the middle.
Yeah, gotcha. But it sounds a great trip. Sounds like you learned a lot and you've taken plenty from it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah.
If we just sort of take a step back and analyze yourself, your profession. I know you have worn lots of different hats in your your career, but if you to sort of sum up, and this is maybe for someone listening who doesn't know too much about the industry, and in quite simple terms, how would you describe your career in terms of that 20 years experience you've got, technical, project management, business development, to someone who maybe doesn't know too much about the industry, what has the bulk of your career entailed?
Thanks for asking this question. I think I was asked this question many times in the past already, because sometimes people couldn't comprehend when they look at my resume. They said, well, you sort of formed a triangle with your career. It's not really in the same track, same path. You went from aeronautical engineering, you were designing planes, then you went to design software, IT, then you went to design systems in the construction industry. Well, how do they all relate to each other? I think for me, it's a very, very simple answer for this kind of things. I am a qualified engineer, and I've got my master's degree as well. Being a professional, when you have that technical mind, it doesn't really matter where you go. When you have that, it's an attitude, basically. It's the way you approach things. It's the way you analyze things. It doesn't matter what industry that is. The way you analyze things, when you see a problem in front of you, say, this is a problem. I need to gather the information first before I can put a plan of action. For me, it does not matter if tomorrow I'll move to a completely different industry, which is something that I've never had experience with. Just using the same attitude, you will pick it up. So that's how I think about it. And along the way, you deal with people, you deal with problems, you manage people, you lead people, you coach people, you train, you present to people, you negotiate. All of that, basically, you find them everywhere. So that is something that you have in common. But the discipline or the field might be different. But all what I just mentioned now, you'll find them everywhere. When you have the right attitude, it wouldn't matter really where you are.
So, have you always had that technical mindset that you mentioned, that analytical sort of problem solving, as far as you can sort of remember?
Yeah, I would say yes. The thing is, my studies, basically early age, I was in technical. I followed the technical studies. So that an analytical mind and problem solving has been there for quite some time. I guess this is something that I followed on for my career, really, because this is something that I enjoy. I see a problem, you scratch your head a little bit, gather the information, talk to your client, make your client understand that I'm here to help find solutions for you. Let's work together and find a way out. Yeah, it is the case.
And the experience you've had in the construction industry, the product set that you've had experience with, waterproofing products, concrete precast, those kinds of materials. How did you end up in that particular space, and what is it about that part of the market that you particularly enjoy?
Um, I wouldn't say actually I moved to that industry because I enjoyed it.
Mm.
I think that's the truth. Is I found myself there. Um, if I remember in 2003, yeah, around 2003, that's when I moved into the construction industry. Um, so I did. That was after my information systems, my masters. In Australia, I think all over the world, it was something that was asked from you by employers, saying, "Show me a couple of years local experience in your field." And I didn't have many years here in Australia. Even my English at that time wasn't that great at all. I couldn't even understand what people were saying when they talk in English to me, because English is my fifth language. So I had to learn from, and it's not really from scratch, but basically from basic English to professional English. So I found there is a person that's still a very good friend of mine today. His name is Brett Foster, which I say hello, Brett. He was the one that basically believed in me at the time. He says, "Okay, you've got absolutely nothing to do with. You don't know anything about. You don't even know how to read drawings, and and you don't know anything about concrete. And why should I give you a job here in this company, which is precast? And I said to him, it's exactly the same thing. I said, I've got the drive, I've got the attitude to learn, and I've got the desire to pick it up in a short time. And that's how it started. And I never left construction industry since, because basically construction industry, just like a world, even if you live 200 years, you will have 200 years worth of experience, and you will never reach, not even 10% of what the construction industry has to offer. I don't see the need of leaving the construction industry, and it's a world that I love so much at the moment. And I found my roots in here, and I enjoy it.
What do you love about it so much? What is it that
it,
keeps
it
you?
it just because what I love about construction industry, there is always something different. It doesn't really, let's say concrete, for instance, concrete you pour today, you pour tomorrow, exact same concrete mix, exact same conditions, you get different results. So that really big question mark in your head, it will incite you, will basically push you to try to find out why it's behaving differently. Is that something related to the admix, the weather, the humidity? What is it? So hence it always puts a question mark in your head, and it pushes you to improve day after day. You see, every building is different. Every bridge is different. Everything you do in construction is different. It's not like you're producing phones. Every phone that's made that has this series or brand, they all look the same. But buildings, they're always different, and the behavior of the construction materials always different. Talking about membrane, you're talking about crystalline and waterproofing, you're talking about concrete, whatever you talk about. When you put them together, you form a system. So you have a product. A product must be, let's say you have a product that's the best in the world. You mix it with another product that's also the best in the world. You form a system. You get the worst system in the world. It doesn't matter whether you put great products together, but actually what matters is when you have the best system. There are products that are not compatible. There are products that don't really work well with moisture. They don't work well with metals. They don't work well with timber. They don't work well. There are always limitations for every single product that you put out there. If you don't know these kind of limitations, let's say I'll give you an example to understand me better. If you're talking about waterproofing, yeah, waterproofing is probably a simpler way to understand what I'm trying to say here. Let's say a membrane. You've got liquid membranes, you've got torsion membranes, PVC membranes, so a lot of different type of membranes. A membrane itself, when it's tested actually as a standalone material. They pull it, they say, okay, the elongation is 600%. Yeah, that's fine. All that is fine. But the thing is, the membrane is not used on its own. The membrane is used to serve a purpose. The purpose is not to allow water to seep through. So that membrane is, let's say, if we talk about liquid membrane, you apply it over concrete, maybe blockwork, maybe a mixture of metal, timber, masonry, concrete. Every single one of these substrates, they contract and expand at different rates. And if you apply membrane, then there is a crack a year later, 2 years later, 10 years later. The membrane does not perform well when it starts from zero. Basically, when you have a crack, basically there is no crack, then it starts cracking, then from zero it starts elongating. That's where you get a failure. So not understanding how the substrate works, you will actually make your system fail. That's the kind of understanding that what I'm saying is it makes the industry exciting. Because it's always big question marks everywhere, it makes you alert. It's not just you do the same job over and over and every day. No, every day you need to watch out, watch out, watch out, watch
Yeah.
out. So all of that keeps you alert, and that's how you learn. When you win, you don't learn. It's when you fail that you learn. Basically, failure is just also, it's just like another attempt for learning, for sure. But that's what keeps you growing. And that's what I enjoy.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And that's clear to me, why you love it and your passion for the industry. And, that's
Yeah.
the sort of why the construction industry has been great for you. If an opportunity maybe to, pat yourself on the back here a little bit, what is it that you feel that, you've been there for 20 years, you've been in the industry for 20 years. What sort of key strengths do you think that you've delivered and performed that have allowed you to be successful and to stick around in the industry over many years? What is it that you're bringing to the table that has allowed you to have that success?
Okay. It doesn't matter whether you sell a product or you sell a service. Basically, you have clients. Yeah, you're dealing with clients. So I was in the precast. We were selling precast panels. I was in construction consulting structural engineering firm. We were selling a service. I was with a waterproofing contractor. We were selling systems and products. It doesn't matter where you are selling something. Basically, you are giving something to your clients, and clients give you money for that purpose. It doesn't matter what you do. You need actually to show to your genuinely show to your clients that you are here to create win-win relationships, and they need to see it. They need to feel it. That's what I'm doing, and that's what I enjoy doing. It makes absolutely no sense to sell something to somebody and that somebody never comes back to you. I believe that every business, they need to have a minimum of 30% returning customers as constant. It needs to be an absolute minimum of 30%. If you don't have any returning customers, or your returning customers are very, maybe less than 10% or none, you're doing something very, very wrong. So servicing your customers in a great way, you coach them, you educate them, you train them, you tell them how you can make money, but you also save them money by giving them the right solution to their issues. When someone buys something from you, is because it's a direct response to a problem they have, or there is an issue and they ask for your services, they ask for your products to fix a problem, an existing problem. So if you come there as a salesperson, purely a salesperson, no one wants to deal with salespeople. People want to deal with people because they find solutions from these people, because they trust them, because they can lean on them, because they are a go-to people. So hence we say people buy from people. They don't buy from companies as such. When you develop that strong skill of bonding with your customers, with your other people that you deal with, that's what basically makes it enjoyable for you, because you are a go-to person, but at the same time you're offering assistance, you're offering help, you're offering solutions, and you're offering good relationships.
So you're not just selling a product or a service, you're selling so much more by the sound
So
of things. You're selling that advice, that counsel, that
yeah,
guidance, that consulting piece, that overall solutions provider. That's what you're trying to aim to be, or have
exactly.
aimed to be.
Exactly right. The moment you show to your customers that you deal with product A, B, and C, and you only talk about A, B, and C, you don't really build in a relationship with them, because you're not a go-to person. The way I think it should be done is, and which I'm doing, if I sell A, B, and C services or products, somebody calls me, let's say a previous client calls me, I would say, we don't deal with DEF product that you're asking for, but I can actually point you in the right direction. I can give you advice, but this service, I can't offer it to you because we don't have it. But I will not leave the person in limbo. I will try to help him as much as I can to give him, to point him in the right direction. They would appreciate more than if you said, sorry, we don't deal with that. He will never come back to you because you're not a go-to person anymore. Because you're only trying to sell your products. You're not trying to offer solutions, trying to help your customers. Customers, they are just like humans, just like us. We love when we find somebody that we feel comfort. Even if they don't have that service, but we feel comfort when we talk to them. So we go back to them for whatever reason. Anything that we need, we go back to them because we know that they can guide us and they can put us in the right direction.
So it's about sort of taking a long-term approach, by the way, as well, but
building
not looking for that short-term win.
That's a mistake. If you look at if you look to sell your products in the short term, that's actually you're shooting yourself in the foot. Long-term relationships, they might not give you the result today, but actually you see a lot more or bigger results tomorrow. When you're working in a business, basically that business is not for just a year or two, but it's for a very, very long term anyway. That's what you try to build. So now if we're talking about marketing, I think it's a lot of people don't make this difference between marketing and branding. If you talk about marketing, you do short-term campaigns to sell a system, or let's say this company got a new product, whatever product from overseas, or the R&D team, they just found a new product and they launched it. So you do marketing, to basically promote that product. But when you talk about branding is not the marketing. It's two different things. Branding is basically, it's a long-term target. You build these long-term relationships. You work on the relationships. You work on global marketing campaigns, not just for a particular product. You work on how you work on the vision of the company. You work on the values of the company. You work on what's your target in the long term. How do you contribute to the society? You need to show to the people that when they start buying from you today, in the long term, this is your target for the greater good. That's branding. To me, that's what I think. So marketing is for today, for tomorrow, short term. Branding is the most powerful than marketing.
And is that something you've focused on yourself, trying to build the Hacene Baleh brand?
That's right.
In the construction industry, that's something.
That's exactly right.
It's something that goes with you from company. You might move companies, but the brand of yourself,
you're
stays.
Correct.
Yeah,
you're correct. Yes. My brain at the moment is, for me, is not really targeting something for today, but it's actually building tomorrow's me tomorrow. Yeah, and all tomorrow starts from today.
And I know you're a man of sort of continuous development and looking for ways to improve. We've touched upon your strengths there a little bit, but what are some of the things that you even vastly experienced as you are, what are some things that you're still looking to improve on?
Wow.
And areas for development.
Joe, for this question, there is one man that I follow all the time. I'm sure you know this man. Do you know this guy called Simon Sinek?
Yeah.
You know him, yeah? I love this man, the way he talks. I think he's very, very optimistic when he talks. But he's the one that said basically leaders are the students of leadership. Students of leadership, meaning you never stop learning. That's what it is. The thing is, your attitude is the one that's going to put you among these people that always try to learn or among those people that say, I know it all. The moment you say, I know it all, people need to follow me because I know it all, you are the wrong person to be called leader. Leaders, basically, they are those that open their minds to anyone and everyone for more learning. Because the way you learn, you don't just learn from people that know more. No, it's even from people that are under you can teach you a lot more things. So you need to have that attitude to be a sponge and to learn from whoever is around you, whoever is dealing with you or you're dealing with. So yes, I'm the student, everyday learning. Yep. And I have absolutely, I'm not embarrassed in telling my teams or the team I'm working with or anyone. I said, please teach me something. In the office, I tell people, I say, please, can you teach me something? I want to learn more. They find it weird, but I don't. I don't really find it weird. We're exposed to different things. Doesn't matter whether you came from uni yesterday or 200 years ago. You always have something or you know something that I don't. So fire away. If I knew it, I'll say I knew it. If I didn't, something extra from me.
What are some things though that you're actively looking to improve on or learn more about at the moment?
It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. I have absolutely no limit. I do
Yeah.
not. It doesn't matter because I don't see myself having the top expertise in. I think that I'm lacking everywhere. Everywhere I look at myself, I see a lot of improvement.
Mm.
I think you must have some sort of humility and being having that willingness to learn and to improve in whatever field. In whatever field.
And if you sit back and sort of reflect on your career as a whole, what would you say some of the the biggest sort of career lessons that you've learned over the time that you maybe share, or something you could maybe look back on and advise a younger version of yourself? You think that's fear of failure? Yeah. Mm. it's that whole fixed mindset versus growth mindset, isn't it? It's like you sort of have that fixed mindset that my ability is set at this level. I can't improve. I never will. Or I can't learn anymore. It's about believing that there is that potential. Yep. Mm. Mm. Love it. And you touched upon Simon Sinek earlier, actually, and he's big on the having a why and having a reason to get out of bed in the morning and do what you do. And what would you say? And this is kind of wrapping things up a little bit, and this is sort of how I close up episodes a little bit. The idea of success. What does that mean to you? What's the reason that you do what you do? Why do you get out of bed, and what is it? What is it about what you do that has kept you? What is it that has? What is your why? I guess is where I'm going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So simple. Yeah, yeah. I love it. Mm. Mm. And we've talked about your past, what you've been, what you've done in your career, and a little bit of what you've been doing recently. What about the future? What can I expect to see from you? What does maybe the next few years hold for you? Not always the easiest question to answer, I know, but just a little bit of prediction. What does the future hold for Hacene? Yeah. Hacene, thank you very much for sharing all that and coming on the show. Really enjoyed talking to you today, and thank you again for um, sharing your wisdom and reflecting on your career like you did. Personally got plenty from that. I'm sure anyone listening um, will as well. So doing great things in the industry. Keep up your good work. Really appreciate what you do, and also coming on the show today. So thank you very much, Hacene.